So ladies, I wanted to title this devotion, My Testimony. And I had tried to do this yesterday on the road up to Colorado Springs, but there was so much car noise, coupled with the fact that I didn't really have all my thoughts down on this. So I thought that I would try this over again. This is really my third try at this, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the subject of testimonies. They are biblical, obviously, and they're very popular in churches, in particular, Baptist type churches and things like that, where they'll have like a men's breakfast and they'll select somebody in the group to give a testimony. But it's not just Baptist churches, but you get the point. And the person will usually stand up and say, well, I used to do all these things. I was drugger, drinker, porner, I beat my wife, I was prideful, self-righteousness, all of that. But then when I met Christ, those things changed. And indeed, you can look biblically, particularly obviously in the New Testament, God changed Paul's heart. He used to be a murderer. And God gave the apostles, who were, I think, for the most part, cowards, hearts of steel. There was a change in the lives of these men. But I think all too often we can abuse the privilege before men, before women, of giving testimonies. And they unfortunately can become a way for us to kind of workerize the gospel, to where it becomes like a results-oriented thing. Well, I know Christ, therefore I'm not doing this. Or I know Christ, therefore I'm liberated from this. And so if we're not liberated from, some of the things that we used to do, then our testimony isn't considered valid. And I think also it can be a way for us to kind of showboat ourselves. And I don't think either of those things are good by any stretch of the means. And I guess for me, the testimony, and it's unfortunate that I say this, but I think it's more like what Paul said in Romans 7:21 through 25, where some theologians want to do away with this passage because it gets in the way of their narrative. But it's here that Paul, I think, is very honest, all right? He's been a believer for probably 15, 20 years by the time he writes Romans. And in Romans 7:21 through 25, he says, I do what I don't want to do, and what I should do, I don't do. And so he's being honest about the fact that even though he's a mature believer, he still battles with sin. He still battles with willful sin. He still battles with his sinful nature. But he ends the passage more or less saying, but thanks be to Christ, that in spite of the fact that he's this way, he's still saved. And I suppose if I were to give a testimony, that would be my testimony. I still battle with sin. I still battle with willful sin, where I just want to do it. And there appears to be a part of me which just will not be reformed to Christ in this body while I live. Now, that doesn't make it right. I'm not justifying any of this. But I think it is what it is. And I think that with most believers, probably all of them, if they're honest, that's really where we are. All right. We have a sick, warped part of our being that is not necessarily made right in this life. And that's not to say that sin is good and that we shouldn't be turning from it. It's just to say that we're saved in spite of it. So I guess that's my testimony, that I'm a dirty, rotten sinner, and I fall constantly, and I ask God for forgiveness constantly, but I'm still saved. Thanks be to Christ. God bless you both.